Welcome to Game Guys. Your host Bricks here, and today we're going to be covering 5 basic tips and tricks for Hell Let Loose to get you in the game. So there are a lot of tips and tricks videos out there for Hell Let Loose, from the basics of the game to how to be a Hell Let Loose God gamer. However, I wanted to make this video based on some of the most commonly seen issues that new players who have just downloaded the game, based on my own experience in servers, tend to have. While we're on the topic of servers, I'd like to give a special shout out to our friends at Team Asylum Gaming for helping with our content and for allowing us to use their Hell Let Loose server. They're a growing gaming community for new and veteran players alike, so go check them out on their Discord at discord.gg/teamasylum. Now let's jump right in to those top 5 beginner tips for Hell Let Loose. Alright, before we get started, quick disclaimer. These tips are in no particular order. There's none that are better or worse than the others. They're all just basic things you need to know coming in the game, day 1, level 1. And there are many, many more of these. So we'll have some future videos that'll explain more in depth to get you up to the level you want to be. So tip number 1, turn up your markers. Yes, please, turn up your markers. As much as everyone likes to jump into a new game in a hurry and get their pew-pew on, don't. Hell Let Loose is, in my opinion, a more serious tactical shooter than other first-person shooter games. That being said, if you don't want your first interaction with another player to be someone on your team who you just team killed, then go into your settings and turn all of your player markers up to 500 meters. All right, this will allow you to see friendlies at a further distance, so you're not taking them out instead of the enemy. Tip number 2, know your game modes. Hell Let Loose currently has 2 different game modes, offensive and warfare. While the maps are still the same for both, the strategy is far different between the modes. The most straightforward mode is called Warfare. Both teams start at either side of the map with 2 territories that are their own, so that's 4 grids worth of territories of captured area, and a center contested area that makes up 1 singular point and another 2 grids on the map. To win, a team must hold the majority of sectors, so 3 out of the 5, by the end of the map, or they can push the enemy completely off the map by taking all 5 sectors. If that's done, even if there's still a timer, the game mode is over, unless there's overtime, which we'll get into in another video. Offensive is similar, except the teams start with control. One team starts with control over nothing. All right, there's only 1 HQ spawn, and they have to take this first point. That first point is usually really hard to take, and you've only got 30 minutes. After that first point, you're going to have 2 points in each 2 grid squares. And you have to take both of those within the 30-minute countdown, and the timer resets every time a sector is taken. Not a point, but an entire 2-grid sector. All right, once these are taken, they cannot be retaken by the enemy. So if you get one, don't worry about putting defenses back. All you need is forward garrisons and go keep on that attack. However, if you're on the defending team, also know you can't go in and retake those. So it's up to you to make sure that you're putting your defenses up well in advance of the enemy getting there. So you're going to rely on your commander and your squad leads to make sure that they're putting down garrisons, putting down OPs, and making sure that the area is defensible. Because be warned, when you get to the last sector, the last 2 grid squares, when you're falling back, that's called your HQ. You get there, you lose 1, and you're done. Tip number 3, spawn points. There's 4 types of spawn points in Hell Let Loose. You have your basic HQ spawn, your outpost, your garrison, and your airhead. Headquarters, garrisons, and airheads all have one thing in common, and that's that the entire team can spawn there. While an airhead is just for a temporary amount of time, everyone can still spawn there as long as it's active. An outpost, on the other hand, only squad leaders can place, and only squads can spawn on. And as with all the topics that we're covering here, we can go a lot more in depth, so check us out in future videos for a lot more in-depth look at a lot of these topics. Tip number 4, don't be afraid to try new roles. Many people in this game love helping others, but are tired of being the squad lead, or they're tired of grinding one role. So try out a supply guy, try out an engineer. I'm sure there's somebody in your team that'll help you learn the process and the basics of it. And also, in future videos, we're going to go a lot more in depth into those roles, the specific roles, and then within those roles, the different loadouts that you can do to be more effective on the team. So just don't be afraid to try new roles. If someone asks you to get on support so that you can drop supplies, just do it. You're learning the game and you're helping the team. Tip number 5, use your expendables. If you die with grenades, you are wrong. That's all I gotta say. Make sure you're pushing in the point using smoke. Make sure you're using it to obscure your point. Again, we'll go into more detail later on how to use these effectively, but toss those frags. As long as you're not pointing them at friendlies, toss them. There's guys specialized on the battlefield to give you those supplies back, even your band-aids. Use your band-aids. There's medics that can drop band-aid boxes. So use what you can to help the team get where they're trying to get. And bonus tip, commendations. Everybody wants to hit level 200. Everybody wants to get that Gewehr loadout. All you got to do is commendations. If you commend people, they'll commend you back, especially in Hell Let Loose. The community here is really good. They really care about our younger, newer players. So most people will commend you just because you're a low-ranking player, as long as you were a decent human being in the match and tried. So get those commendations. All you have to do is at the end of your match, you have about 30 seconds. If you, let's say, your Love Squad or your Baker Squad or whatever, you click your squad name. You'll have a drop down with all your squad members, and you just double click the badge by someone's name over by their score. For each commendation that you receive, you'll get 10% increased experience for that match. So get those commendations, and we'll see you in game. Thank you for watching, and if you liked our material today, make sure you like and subscribe. This is our first video, so we're going to be learning and growing with you, and that like and subscribe, that's the commend for us. So, till next time, see you in game.